My noisy neighbor was ruining my sleep until I left one note. Imagine lying in bed at midnight, staring at the ceiling, listening to your downstairs neighbor's television so clearly that you can follow the entire episode without even seeing the screen. Every line of dialogue, every laugh, every explosion. And just when you think it's finally getting quiet, the sound of furniture dragging across the floor. Again, at exactly 11 at night. This went on for weeks after I moved into my new apartment. It was a second-floor unit in an older building. Not fancy, but affordable and close to work. At first, everything seemed normal. I was excited about finally having my own space. The first few days were quiet while I unpacked boxes and tried to make the place feel like home. But then, I started noticing the noise. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining it. Late at night, when everything else was silent, I could hear a TV from the apartment below me. Not just muffled noise, actual dialogue. I could literally follow the plot of whatever show he was watching. One night I remember thinking, wait, did that character just reveal the killer? And that's when it hit me. I wasn't watching the show. My neighbor's TV was just that loud. Now, if it had happened once in a while, I probably wouldn't have cared, but it was every night around the same time. And then there was the other thing. Almost like clockwork, around 11 p.m., I'd hear the scraping sound, like someone dragging a heavy chair or table across the floor. Every single night. I'm not a confrontational person. I hate the idea of knocking on someone's door and complaining. Nobody wants to be that neighbor, the one who causes problems in the building. So I stayed quiet for weeks. I tried earplugs, I tried white noise on my phone, I tried going to bed earlier, I tried staying up later. Nothing worked, because once you notice a noise, it becomes impossible to ignore. Then, one Tuesday night, everything came to a breaking point. I had to wake up early the next morning for work, a really important day. I needed sleep, so I went to bed early around 10:30, lights off, phone down, trying to fall asleep, and then the TV started. Voices arguing, background music blasting, a laugh track echoing through my floor. I remember staring at the ceiling thinking, okay, maybe it'll stop soon, but it didn't. Then, right on schedule at 11, the furniture again. That was the moment I finally reached my limit. Not angry enough to start a fight, just too tired to deal with it anymore. So the next morning I sat at my kitchen table with a pen and a small piece of paper. I wrote a note. Actually, I rewrote it 3 times because I didn't want it to sound rude. The final version said something like, "Hi, I'm your upstairs neighbor. I'm not sure if you're aware, but your TV volume comes through the floor pretty clearly at night. I can sometimes hear the dialogue from the shows. I was wondering if maybe we could figure something out for later in the evening. Thanks so much." Polite, simple, not accusing, just honest. I walked downstairs, stood outside his door for a moment, and slid the note underneath. And honestly, I expected the worst. Maybe he'd ignore it. Maybe he'd get defensive. Maybe he'd turn the TV even louder.
The reply that changed everything. 3 days passed after I left the note under my neighbor's door. Nothing changed. The TV was still loud. The same late-night shows, the same dialogue coming through the floor like I was listening through a speaker. By the 3rd night I started thinking maybe he never saw the note. Or maybe he saw it and simply didn't care. Honestly, I started preparing myself for the idea that this was just how things were going to be from now on. Earplugs. White noise. Sleepless nights. But then Friday morning happened. I opened my apartment door to leave for work, and right there on the floor was a folded piece of paper sitting in front of my door. My first thought was, oh great, here comes the angry response. I picked up the paper, unfolded it, and started reading. The first line immediately surprised me. It said, "Hey, thanks for the note." That alone caught me off guard. I had expected irritation, maybe even anger. But the tone of the message was calm. Then the next line said, "I'm really sorry about the TV." I honestly didn't realize it was coming through the floor like that. I paused for a moment and read the sentence again. Then the note continued. I should probably explain something. I'm hard of hearing in one ear, so I usually keep the volume higher than most people. Because of that, I sometimes don't realize how loud it actually sounds to others. Suddenly everything started making sense. The loud TV. The constant volume. He wasn't trying to be inconsiderate. He literally just couldn't hear properly. But the note wasn't finished yet. The next line said, I actually ordered a soundbar that lets me connect wireless headphones, so I'll be able to watch TV at night without bothering anyone. I remember standing there in the hallway thinking, wait, seriously? He had already ordered something to fix the problem. And then there was one final sentence at the bottom of the note. Also, I appreciate you coming directly to me instead of complaining to the building management. Most people don't give me a chance to fix things. That line stuck with me. Because the truth is, I had almost gone to management first. It would have been easier. File a complaint. Let someone else deal with it. But instead I chose the awkward option, writing a simple, polite note. And somehow that made all the difference. Within a week the change was incredible. The TV at night. Completely silent. No dialogue. No explosions. No laugh tracks. And the furniture scraping sound. Gone. Whatever he had been moving every night, he must have fixed that too. For the first time since moving in, I could finally lie in bed at night and hear nothing. Just quiet. And the funny part is, the whole situation could have turned out very differently. I could have complained to management. He could have gotten defensive. The problem could have turned into a long argument between neighbors who hated each other. Instead, the entire conflict was solved with one polite message and one thoughtful response. Sometimes we assume the worst about people. We think they're being rude, careless, or selfish. But every once in a while, you discover that the person on the other side of the wall simply didn't realize there was a problem. And sometimes, the simplest solution, just talking to someone, works better than any kind of revenge ever could.